Nikki Darden. You are currently the head of internal brand and global integration at Citi, and she is also a client. So we just, yes. So,
Citi Army, hey.
Yeah, so I'd love to hear more about your experience and what you've been doing at Citi and how Blend has helped you with Citi.
Yeah, I think I've done more things with Blend than you have.
Me? I don't know.
I'm at Citi. I lead a team that actually has 4 different marketing functions within it, part of our global marketing organization. I lead internal brand engagement and global integration, as Kelsey said. Also lead DE&I strategy for the brand and purpose marketing, which includes all of our ESG efforts. So it's a pretty big job. And Blend definitely helped contribute to me getting there. So I started my career, I've been in financial services for most of my career. I won't go through all the early jobs, but like Matt, I was at American Express for 12 years. When I left American Express in 2010, I went to Citi in our U.S. consumer marketing group, did a few different roles there. Had a rotational assignment, an international expat assignment for about 7 months in Brazil, which gave me international exposure of what it looks like to work for a global brand, but in a company that's not the headquarters. And so after that role, I came back and had the opportunity to lead a global program, which I loved, but it was very intense, and it wasn't my dream. And so in 2016, I actually left Citi to start my own company. I learned very quickly that I hate entrepreneurship. More power to every entrepreneur in the room. I'm sure some of you are. And I know that because one of the things that I did, this is why I know I did more things than you did, Matt. One of the things that I did, I was a consultant while I was an entrepreneur, working on a specific project that I will say went into me when the role that I had when I went back to Citi. So I'll talk a little bit about that. But I was with Blend, C2G at the time, as a consultant while I was working my entrepreneurial endeavor. Hated it, left, stopped doing that, took another job, I won't say where, hated it very briefly. Thank goodness Blend was there again and hired me as part of the core team. I don't know exactly how to describe it, to help explore a new line of business that the company was going into. See, so I did 2 different kinds of things.
I think there's a little competition over here.
I'm just saying. I did 2 different kinds of things, and I had already been a client. I'm just saying.
No big deal.
And then I went back to Citi in 2018, and like I said, leveraged I worked on a global project as a consultant with Blend, and I leveraged what I learned working on that initiative to help get the role that I came back to at Citi when I returned, which was head of global integration for the global consumer bank. And then, my career has really expanded. And like I said, I left because 1, I was burnt out. 2, I wasn't doing my dream job. I can say, and this sounds like fluff, I can say that Blend helped get me into my dream job. I can say that unequivocally because I have my dream job now. I tell people all the time I have the best job in the company. I love what I do. Most days I'm excited to get up and go to work. Some days I absolutely don't want to do it.
Maybe not Mondays.
Exactly. And so the role expanded organically, and now I'm a managing director at a major global financial services firm.
Yeah, and I know obviously DE&I strategy is huge for you. So, what has DE&I meant to you and being able to implement that in such a large organization?
Yeah, so when I came back, throughout my career, when I was at Amex, people used to call me the diversity police. They were like, oh God, we can't say anything edgy around Nikki because I'm going to be like, don't say that. I'm not that bad. Sometimes I am. And so I just tried to raise sort of the vibration around inclusion at Citi, and it was sort of my side job. And then it got formalized a little bit in that I became the diversity champion for consumer marketing. And so I got brought into a bunch of conversations just to say, hey, do we need to think about something differently or not? And now that is formally part of my role, and it includes things like supplier diversity. It includes things like we just, led by a former Blend consultant, actually, we launched a partnership with Getty Images where we produced this Getty DE&I toolkit that really helps you think through, we call it 8 different lenses of identity, to really understand how can you just be more inclusive and provide a speed bump. So as you're doing campaigns, creating work, you just think twice about who you're reflecting and how you're reflecting them. And that's actually a global project. Just last night we launched our Singapore toolkit. And that work has just become core to what we do, what my team does, currently staffed by another Blend consultant who had an event to go to, so she couldn't be here tonight, but it's all good. I was like, what do you mean you have other plans?
These are your only plans.
Exactly. But that work, the other thing, and I don't want to go on too long, but the other thing that it has done, first, I've had to formalize it, right? It's not just my lived experiences are not enough. So I've had to bring in other voices. I've had to think about how do you operationalize ensuring that you've got thoughtful and inclusive people in the room who can look at work from different perspectives. I've been Black my whole life. I don't know how to market to Black people because that's never been my job. And so there are people who are experts. And so we think about how do we bring the right thought leaders into the room as we do our work. And you know, the thing that I'm most proud of that we've done along this path is we were the first major bank to enable transgender and non-binary people to use their chosen first name on their credit card. And so that has been a game changer. If you don't know, 70% of trans people go by a name other than their legal name, and about 1/3 of them experience harassment, violence, service disruption, whatever it may be, when they go to try to use a card or an ID or something that has a name that doesn't reflect their gender expression. And so just being able to close that gap, because there are a lot of gaps for them to be able to legally change their name, being able to close that gap for our customers has been really important for me. So you didn't